not supporting, I hate you. Okay, just like anyone else. From the boys. Two. Please. Faster, we don't have time. Ridwan. Where are you? You're not allowed to speak. You guys didn't you? Okay, like, you guys refresh or you want more? You want more? You want pictures too? Okay, that's gonna be the last one. We don't have time. It's okay, we're gonna play another game afterwards. So let's continue with. Okay, so I will continue the presentation. My name is Nurullah binti Hamdi, alias Akila. Okay, so I will continue to talk about LSP. So does anyone in this class ever heard about LSP before? No one? Okay, never mind. I just tell you guys, LSP stands for Language for Specific Purposes, which means that we learn foreign language for our own specific reason. Okay, so the aim is to prepare learners for real-world demands to satisfy the learner's needs and interests, which means that we learn the foreign language for our own need, for our own good and benefit. Okay, and the next one is to teach second language skills to the learners, for them to function well in specific context. For example, if the learner is a doctor to be and he or she wants to work at a foreign country, for example in Japan, so he or she needs to learn Japanese language for them to communicate well with the person there, with the people there. Next. The next one is the characteristics of LSP. The first one is the content is limited to particular disciplines, occupations, and activities to fit the learner's purposes. This means that for example, if the learner wants to become an engineer, for example, let's say in Japan, because as we all know, in Japan the main, like the famous course in Japan is engineering. So let's say the learners want to become an engineer in Japan. So he needs to learn that course, that technological terms in Japanese language. So that's what it means by the content is limited to particular disciplines. The second one is selected according to the learner's interest. For example, let's say that you want to become a businesswoman, so you just need to learn about business. if you want to become an engineer, you only need to learn about engineering. Okay. And the next one is focus to satisfy the learner's communicative needs. This one, for example, okay, never mind. The next one is can be used with any target language needed by the learners. In this case, it does not only happen to be English language. Yes, it is true that English language is the most famous language learned by people around the world because it is an international language. But LSP does not only happen to be English language. It can also be any other language like Mandarin, Korean, and Japanese, Spanish. Okay. Okay, this is the most common example of LSP. The first one is Japanese. Is commonly used for business, Spanish for doctors, Mandarin for tourism, and English for air traffic controllers. The next one is the use of ICT in learning LSP. The use of computer, internet connection, and projector in the classroom. This can make the learning process between the teacher and the students become more interesting. For example, the teachers can access to the internet. The teachers can access the internet and they can access the internet and open YouTube, show the video to the students about the country, the culture. So the students will be more interested. The next one is the existence of internet websites that enable students to make progress and learn foreign languages in a quite interactive and dynamic way. As you all know, in this technological era, there are a lot of websites that we can access for free. So there's even this one website, I don't remember what is it, but it has the network teacher where we can communicate with them, we can talk with them, like a video call. Okay, and the last one is help the learners to communicate with the real native speakers online. I think that's the same as the previous point. That is all from me. So, hi, I'm Anissa Tira Betumah Fendi. Hi. How are you guys doing? Fine. I'm not doing good, I'm nervous. So, I'm gonna explain to you guys about ESP. It's a bit similar to what Alia explained just now. But this one is English for specific purposes, so you only focus on English. So, yeah. So what is ESP? ESP is a focus on its communicative orientation. So you only focus on like what we communicate, how to communicate, and all that stuff. So there are many definitions. There are two definitions about ESP. One of them is absolute characteristic. It must be designed by the learners. It related to the discipline it served in terms of methodology, and it must be taught by the English teachers only. So, for like example, if the teacher did not know if the teacher are not good, if a person are not good in English, if they don't take English as their course in university, and when they go out from the university, they cannot teach the others the subject of English. Do you get what I mean? Yes. So, like that, what's the point of teaching others English, but no one's gonna understand you because you don't understand? So you have to go through it. Have to understand more about English if you want to teach others. Yes. So the other definition is variable characteristic. It related to or designed for specific disciplines and may use in specific teaching situations. Likely to be designed for adult learners either at a tertiary level institution or in a professional work situation, and generally designed for intermediate or advanced students. Like for example, medical students need English for medical purposes. Like if you're gonna take medical, as your course, you have to also need to excel in English. Because imagine if you're going to be a doctor and then you're not good in English, and what if the patient that you're treating is, you cannot speak your language, and how can you understand and know, and how can you communicate with your patient? And English for aviation, for their aviation courses. Language learning is not only acquiring grammatical structure but also its function, and English is vastly used in almost all professions. So, you guys ever heard that nowadays, if many companies, even in Malaysia, mostly in Malaysia, they want an employee, that can speak well in English. So they make an interview first. They ask the person in English to see whether the person can talk good or not. And mostly they chose the good ones. So you have to be good in English. So that's why it is important to know how to speak English fluently. And also, I have a story. I met a Nigerian guy. I interviewed him and asked him how he was studying here, and I asked him how's the surrounding, how's the people, how's the local people, and sadly he answered that the people here are not friendly because there's this one time he asked the person, the local, about something. He wanted to know which direction. So the person ignored him, and maybe obviously it offended him. So I reckon that the person did not understand what he's saying. So basically, English is really important, whether you like it or not. Whether you don't take English as your course in the future, you still have to learn it. And most universities all over the world have been offering ESP courses. Besides, the general English lesson is just to boost their confidence in this field. So there are activities in ESP as follows. Language skills improve. With ESP, when we learn ESP, English specific purposes, we can improve our language skills, and also vocabulary building. We know much more vocabularies, and communicative interaction. In ESP, we learn how to talk, like now, we're trying and learning to talk in front of the people in English, which is really hard, but we still can go through it. So yeah, we're so brave, like all of us. And the last from me is advantages of ESP. So this statement is by Crank. It is the teaching of content with little or no direct effort to teach the language separately from the content being taught. Content makes linguistics more meaningful. Content serves on the best basis for teaching the skills area. In ESP learning, information is usually transferred by reading a text, preparing a presentation that involves at least 2 or 4 skills. Therefore, it is appropriate to use an integrated skill approach. They are allowed for integration of the 4 skills, which I just mentioned just now. And the last one is they allow for use of authentic skills. In ESP, any method can be chosen to be used in the classroom according to the context, learners and need analysis, teaching standard learning abilities. ESP teachers need to be integrated of the content and the language.
So I think that's all from me. I'm sorry if it's not clear, but I will show a video to you guys to understand. So can you just...
We usually think about English language as being either focused on everyday communication This second type of language is called English for Specific Purposes, or ESP for short. Now you might think that ESP tests are just tests of general proficiency with some technical vocabulary thrown in. But actually, they really are quite different. First of all, when ESP tests are developed, they're based on something called a needs analysis. Before we start to design such a test, we first identify exactly what someone working in a specific context actually does in their job. Sometimes this can be done through questionnaires, but probably the best way to go about it is to observe real working situations. It's easy to tick boxes in a questionnaire to say what you think you do, but in fact, you may not realize all the other things you do as well. Things that an impartial outside observer will notice. The international nature of the workplace means that there has to be a common language of communication, and nowadays, that language is English. So, for example, the pilot of a Japanese plane approaching an airport in Peru will communicate with the local air traffic controllers in English. This situation has led to the development of specific purpose tests for air traffic controllers. As you might expect, exactly the same is true for workers in other professions. Perhaps the first specific purpose tests for non-native.
So I think that's all. So if you guys don't understand, you just can go through it on Itesl. What's that? Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all. So my name is Itesl, and I will proceed with English for Science and Technology, or EST. EST is concerned with both the oral and written discourse of English for academic or professional purposes. It mainly deals with learners at the tertiary level for whom the learning of English takes on the service role for their specific needs in study, work, or research. It's generally designed for intermediate or advanced students, and EST learners are usually more mature than other categories of learners, not only in terms of age, but also behavior and attitude towards learning. It is because as they are very goal-oriented, more serious, and aware of the importance of the education, and focus on specialized vocabulary that will help them directly in their career or their future. Objectives of the so I will tell you objectives of the study is to improve language proficiency in order to handle specific communication situations in specialized English. So the communication will get better and easy to understand and easy to communicate with others. And the second one is to develop language skills for further training and employment opportunities in engineering fields. As an engineer should be good in using English as we want to deal with the clients from all over the world. To read and understand technical materials, to write reports, to develop language specific to engineering and technology. To enrich oral skills in order to understand teacher's speech, to make an oral presentation and take part in specialized discussions. Presenting and reviewing a practical approach to find out the language needs of the engineering students, and teaching and developing the needed communication skills among the students of engineering and technology. Activity management in EST is according to Dudley, Evans and S.C. John. There are 5 key roles attributed to an EST practitioner. First is the teacher, and the second is course designer and material provider, collaborator, researcher and evaluator. Vocabulary and meaning should be the keywords in EST. Teachers are usually unsure the amount of general English knowledge and teaching methods that should be used and transformed to EST courses. And the teacher tempted to use in EST teaching methods, patterns and materials that are generally typical of general English teaching. Teachers should offer learners specialized language through authentic situations and contexts, and not in isolation from reality and real communication. Successful formula in EST is to combine subject matter and English language in teaching. Teachers should teach grammar and vocabulary using the field that is relevant to the learners and that they are directly interested in. This means that the teacher should teach them from simple vocab to complicated grammar structures. Everything must be taught in meaningful context in EST to increase the learner motivation. Learners will not focus on content understanding, but on finding the English equivalence of the things they already know. With more or less knowledge in their field study, learners will not focus on content understanding, but on finding the English equivalent of the things they know. Learners come first again, as their needs and motivation will impose every single job in EST. They will be able to use what they learn in EST courses directly in their work and studies, being motivated to interact with other speakers and approach technical texts. Another main challenge is how to select, design and organize course materials. All EST courses must be learner-centered and no decision in this respect shall be made. The EST course should be an ongoing process, tailor-made for learners, flexible and modifiable according to their needs. Without a complete analysis of the needs, his or her current proficiency in English and previous experience by way of different group discussions, individual tasks, questionnaires, surveys and others. An element that should never be overlooked is that EST measures should always be chosen in collaboration and under the guidance of specialists in that specific engineering field. Authenticity of technical text is also highly important. Teachers have to offer learners real data and information along with the appropriate vocabulary they need to know. The stimulating motivation and participation to raise the chances